Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. I'm freezing today because winter has kicked in, snow has fallen, and this is when I'm like, why do we live in the Midwest where it's cold? Because why aren't we by an ocean where it's a nice 85 degrees? But I digress. So if you are somewhere warm, please appreciate it for the rest of us who are freezing out here in snow and cold weather. So this will be your weekly reading, Sagittarius, for December 7th through the 13th. During that time, we have a waning gibbous moon, which is a really good time for self-reflection and rebirth, a good time for us to make positive changes, get rid of bad habits and negative thinking, and just still buckle down and work on those things that we've started, in the beginning of the cycle. We then also have the last quarter moon that comes in on the 13th this week, and that is a time for reflection, really releasing what's no longer serving us, just letting go, taking responsibility for our actions, of course, during this cycle, and starting to think of maybe adjustments or things that we'd like to change before the next cycle or when the next cycle begins. So please keep those moon energies in mind as you're moving through your week. This will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter, Sagittarius. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this particular reading is, what do you need to release? How perfect is that with that waning moon energy, just what we were just talking about? So, what is it that you need to release, Sagittarius? It might be something. So, I have kind of noticed that as a theme in some of the readings for this week. So let's see what your cards have to say for you this week. And as I'm shuffling, my fun weekly message is that you try to take time to meditate this week. If it's not something that is a part of your normal routine, then try to work it in a little bit. Get that started. If you do already meditate, that's so awesome. I'm an off and on meditator. I'll get into where I can first. For me to sit still is really a challenge. So I have to really kind of set that side of time and say, okay, I'm going to meditate between this time and kind of make it very intentional in that way. And if you need help, there's lots of guided meditations on YouTube or other platforms out there that can be very helpful. But that's just my fun weekly reminder that you go within, just still your mind and body, and just go explore a little bit this week. So all right, let's get into this reading, Sagittarius. Your overall present energy is the King of Pentacles. So look at you. You need to release something, but you're also very on top of your material world. You've just got it going on when it comes to work, to managing your money, to managing your household. Everything is just in order. And if it's not, you have the knowledge of how to at least make that happen. You're just really in super control, not only of your things that are going on, but also just the people around you. Kind of have the knowledge, which you might need to keep to yourself, but you might be able to. You can look at your friend's situation and be like, well, I know why your kitchen's a wreck is because da da da, maybe again keep that information to yourself or be of help if someone needs a hand. But just that king energy is just really the knowledge of their suit. So you're just sitting in a good energy when it comes to that. Your current situation is that you're feeling a little bit like an outsider. So even though you have that knowledge, you may be thinking, yeah, this is kind of a, what do I, the comparison is the thief of joy. So don't let this comparison, don't feel like an outsider when, see, we don't always know everyone's situation, especially when it comes to pentacles. You may look at someone and think, oh, well, I'm a little feeling like an outsider because they can do this thing that I can't really afford to do. Well, they might have battles that you're not fighting that you don't even really understand. So it's kind of hard to, not everyone's life is quite as rosy, right, as it appears to be. Like we talk about social media, people, that's their highlight reel, not really how their life is. So let's not try to, if you're feeling like an outsider because of comparison, just try to quell that just a little bit. What is at the root of your situation is the King of Wands. So not only are you in control of your material world, but you're also in control of your passion world. You know what drives you, you know what lights a fire under you, and you know how to do it. You've taken the time to really study and research the thing that you're passionate about, and that's kind of at the root. And maybe you're feeling like an outsider because you just haven't been able to to put as much into that recently, right? That could be the reason for this card coming up also. So we'll see where this goes. What is in your recent past here is the Ace of Cups, and maybe it's hard for you to do that because you have something new that you love in your life, and sometimes, I was just talking to, I think, what was the reading I just did? Maybe it was Scorpio, and it's about making space for something when you have a new passion. It might have been the one before that. Anyway, making space, like if you have a new passion that comes in or something new that you love, well, it's kind of hard if your life is already very full to make space for that. So you almost have to kind of rearrange things and prioritize so that you have enough space to do all of those things that you're passionate about, things that you love, and keep things control, in the material realm when it comes to work and finances in your house and everything. So it's a lot. It can be a lot on your plate at times, but just take that time, go within, meditate, and it clears your mind so that you can be clear of mind to make these kind of decisions, to know how to quickly prioritize things in your life so that everybody's happy, right? Let's look at what is on your mind this week. Is more Pentacles here with the 10, which I have seen this card quite a bit. This is on everybody's mind right now. It's kind of long-term wealth and security, kind of generational wealth. This could be you thinking about your retirement fund. Maybe we're thinking about taxes coming up here. We're in December, so thinking that's coming around the bend. But it's on your mind to be thinking of those things. And I always like to remind that even though you're thinking of wealth and security, it doesn't all have to be material. A lot of times we're talking about the things that we want to pass on to the next generation, which are, things in our morality. We want to pass on honesty and truth and goodness and kindness. Those are things also to remember to pass on to the next generation as well. What is just ahead of you this week, Sagittarius, is the Five of Wands. So there might be a little bit of debate on how to manage these things, how to manage these passions, how to manage this new love that's coming into your life. So just make sure, this doesn't have to lead to argument, but it's good to have good debate. Let everybody make sure, I like to say that when you're having a debate, make sure you're listening as well as getting your point across. Sometimes listening to the other side, someone may have an idea that you didn't even think of, and you're not going to hear it if you're really busy battling for the thing that you're pushing for. So sometimes it's just good to take a little bit of time and listen to hear what other people are actually saying, and then take notes, and everybody can come to some agreement so that you can make everybody as happy as you can. Everybody's never going to be completely happy, but you can at least come to those kind of agreements that's pretty pleasing to everybody, right? In your advice position, Page of Pentacles. So it may be that you want to have some sort of new path in the way of finances, and so that you can get to this long-term goal, right? If you're feeling a little bit like an outsider, maybe you're deciding, what, if we cut back over here, we can save some money, and if we put that money back, in 2 years time, we can go on this big huge vacation, right? So it's just a matter of kind of cutting those corners. Where can you save a little money to do something, or maybe to put away for something long term as well, more money into your retirement account. If you're kind of got that vision, you really need to be doing that anyway. And if you can put a little more in there, it makes, maybe you can retire earlier than you thought you could. So it's something to think about there. What is beyond your control this week is the Three of Cups, which I love that, because that just means there's some sort of celebration for you this week, and good times and happiness, and that can't be all bad, right? So you're going to just kind of celebrate something there, and I like that. I like that a lot. All right, what is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid, is the Magician card. So you may be asking for the Magician to come in and help you kind of just make that decision to make that kind of change. And where will that change come for you? Is it going to come, in the emotional realm of the cups? Will it come in the pentacle realm with your material world, in the passion realm with things that you're passionate about? Or, and we haven't even seen any swords in your entire reading yet, which is about thoughts and communications and that air energy. Maybe an idea comes to mind, and maybe that's what you ask the Magician, is something that you don't have right now, is the inspiration to maybe have, like, that Ace of Swords aha moment where you have like a mental breakthrough that clears all of this up, and you're able to, to quell the debate by working out everything for everybody. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But you get to, that's either your secret desire is to kind of put those changes in action, or you're trying to avoid that altogether. That's a question that you do need to ask yourself. In your outcome position, Okay, it might be that something has to end. There's the swords that we didn't see before. And the sword could just be just a mental ending and just like a mental refresher again with meditating. And what do you need to release? There might just be something that's in your life that's kind of a thing that you don't need anymore. That might be a way of doing things that you've been doing it so long that it's just kind of second nature, and you can get rid of doing it that way now. There's a new way. So there is something that you do need to release and let go. It looks to be mental to me. It's something that's like a mental thought process. So it just makes room when you have an ending like that for a new way of thinking to come in, or a new way of loving to come into. But again, next week I wouldn't be surprised to see like an ace of swords in your reading next week. So come back and we'll see. Let's see what's hidden from you right now is the Empress. So this is our creativity. This is hidden from you. This is about, making decisions on things that will take a long time to come to fruition. A lot of times this can be pregnancy. So if that's something that you're trying to avoid right now, I would maybe it is hidden from you, but it's pregnancy too, not physical pregnancy, or it can be, but also it's about making decisions creatively that take a long time to come to fruition. So that's kind of hidden from you. You might already have so many things on your plate that you can't even begin to think about that. And again, if you get rid of something, this may come into play next time you have a reading with again with that Ace of Swords, that I would not be surprised to see, because it looks like you're dealing with all these other elements, but I don't see any other swords in your reading besides this thing that you need to get rid of. So let's take a look at the Soul Oracle deck for Sagittarius and see how this reading wraps up. Let's get some final words here from the Soul Oracle deck, which says to you, make necessary sacrifices. Okay, perfect. Kind of goes along with that. There is something that you need to release, and you know what it is. It's going to be different for all Sagittarians, but there's something that you do need to sacrifice, get rid of, make a change on, and release something that you're done with, and you'll get there. All right, let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care this week. Self-care for Sagittarius, and the card that you get is self-worth. Why settle for crumbs when you deserve a whole meal? So don't settle for crumbs. You have to think about yourself sometimes too. And again, like I said, with this, you're going to be arguing things and you want to get your point across, but sometimes there might be someone who has an idea that if you pay attention and listen, it might be something that's actually good for you and helps with your self-worth and your self-care, right? Someone may have an eye out and see something that maybe you're missing. So your big question again is going to be that Magician. Do you want to make a change or not? And that'll be different for different Sagittarians. It may be time. It may be, you may be putting off a little bit of a change, but that'll be your big question for the week. So Sagittarius, thank you so much for being here with me. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below. Let me know if anything here resonated with you, or if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those questions for you. Also, if you like my reading style, please hit that like and subscribe button. Not only does it really help my channel, but it'll help you find me next week, where you can come back and we can see where this story goes. So thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.